Lightyear, while not one of its worst, was one of Pixar's most disappointing films. Many claim it was doomed from its conception because of its nature as an adaptation of a fictional IP within an existing Pixar property, considering it evidence of the studio's desperation and dying creativity. However, I think it had all the potential to be a truly awesome and mature, family-friendly sci-fi epic, and that's what the early trailers led me to believe we were getting. I don't know, maybe it was just David Bowie. However, the movie we got was a surprisingly small-scale and weirdly paced story that felt like the second or third movie in a series while focusing too much on annoying or forgettable side characters and ending with a bizarre and underwhelming twist. But what if this wasn't the movie we got? What if we'd gotten a sweeping space epic with fascinating world building that captures the sense of adventure and exploration of a new frontier found in the trailers? What if we'd gotten a compelling origin story for this iconic character? And what if he actually felt like the same character originally voiced by Tim Allen? Well, those are the questions I'm here to answer today. But before I get into it, I'm just thinking out loud here, so if you like my brain vomit, you know where the like and subscribe buttons are. So without further ado, let's get started with my basic outline for what could have been Pixar's Lightyear. This story starts out on Earth, and offers a lot more world building right off the bat than the actual movie ever did. Here we learn that we are in the 22nd or 23rd century, and it's been a few decades since Star Command was formed, a United Nations version of NASA based on the moon, with the mission to lead the planet's interstellar colonization efforts. With the invention of lightspeed or near lightspeed travel, perhaps pioneered by Buzz's father, the first man to travel at light speed, mankind set its sights beyond its own solar system, which has already been thoroughly colonized. Star Command's first missions were small, elite teams of space rangers, sent to establish colonies on the nearest potentially habitable planets, with the intention that they would send word back to Earth once they had established the infrastructure to support the next wave of colonists. The leader of the first of these missions was none other than Buzz Lightyear's father, who left on this mission before he was born, leaving his family, who he hoped would come on the next colony ship to his world. When the story starts, we meet a 30-year-old Buzz Lightyear, who has spent his life preparing to lead the follow-up mission to his father's world. We see he has some mixed feelings about his father, who he is eager to meet, since he mostly reveres him and is clearly desperate to live up to his legacy. But we also learn he secretly holds a bit of resentment toward him for leaving his family. Within the first few minutes of the movie, Buzz learns that Star Command has received the first communications from his father's world, sent 15 years ago to confirm the team's arrival to the planet. We'll say that the planet is 15 light years away from Earth, which means that travel to the planet at light speed and any communications between it and Earth takes 15 years, though for those traveling at light speed, those 15 years pass instantaneously. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, this first message from his father's planet was followed by messages describing incredible signs of advanced alien life, and then what seemed to be a distress call, followed by silence. Thus, the follow-up mission, which wasn't planned to launch for another few years, has been turned from a large shipment of colonists to a small elite team leading an investigation and potential rescue mission. Buzz is obviously determined to lead this mission, though it means leaving behind his wife or girlfriend, who had been going to come with him on the colony ship, but now accuses him of doing exactly what he resents his own father for doing. Still, he makes the choice to leave, knowing this might be the only chance he has to meet his father. When the ship arrives at the new planet, another 15-ish years later that pass by in an instant for Buzz and his crew. In short, they discover the colony has been taken over by an alien robotic army. While it is determined by Buzz's fellow space rangers that they need to escape, Buzz is determined to find his father, or at least find out what happened to him. After some adventure, it is discovered that the colonists, perhaps having found some of them still alive and living like natives, found themselves defeated and destroyed all communication with and means of returning to Earth in order to prevent their attackers from invading their home. Now, Buzz and his team form a desperate plan to stop the robots from being able to follow them to Earth so they can escape. In this daring mission, Buzz faces the leader of the robot army, Zurg, and learns that his father somehow discovered, awoke, and became one with the robot entity. Now, here's where I'm still not entirely settled on what version of this story I prefer. Either the alien technology is sentient and part of an ancient collective like the Borg of Star Trek, and it simply took him over, merging his consciousness with its, or it was merely a dead remnant of a long-gone civilization, and he turned it on and learned to control it. In which case, I'm not sure what his motivations are. Perhaps it's as simple as using this technology to conquer all space, including Earth, believing himself capable of bringing humanity into a new age of progress. However, as I'll mention later, I've also toyed with the idea that, discovering this technology, he learned of another alien threat, from which he seeks to protect humanity. But whatever the details, it doesn't really affect the outline of this film, so let's continue. Learning all of this, Buzz finally gets to confront his father and all his own demons. He learns his father left his family because his own ambition was greater than his love for them. Of course, Buzz is crushed by this realization, but when he insists that he's not like his father, he realizes he is, because he left his own potential family the same way. His father becomes a dark mirror for him, and he refuses to become like him. The film likely ends with them defeating Zurg more soundly than they even intended, allowing them to rebuild the colony and re-establish contact with Earth, and Buzz starting a new family with one of the native children of the colonists, with whom he formed a relationship over the course of the story. Heck, maybe they're even able to use the alien technology to learn of countless worlds and alien civilizations, opening the door for a whole new era of exploration. The last scene could have Buzz and his new romantic partner setting off together to make first contact with another alien world. That's it for this movie, but I have a few more thoughts to share. Like the actual film was clearly intended to be before its devastating flop, I imagine this film as the start of a trilogy. I have a few different ideas for the next two, which would likely be called Lightyear, A New Frontier, and Lightyear, The Final Frontier. I would love the second movie to see them meeting and exploring a number of new alien civilizations, but of course, I'm sure Zurg's not dead, so perhaps at some point they end up returning to Earth to prevent its invasion. As I already suggested, maybe it's discovered that there is another powerful alien threat that Zurg learned about when he discovered the alien technology, which he wanted to prepare Earth to be able to fight against, and this war is the climax of the story. So maybe A New Frontier includes Buzz and his new family making contact with other aliens, learning about their history and the history of the technology found on their world, and stopping Zurg from returning and conquering these new civilizations as well, while potentially learning of the greater threat that awaits them. Then the final frontier has them return to Earth to defend their world from an interstellar force of cosmic destruction. I don't know, I have a lot of conflicting ideas, and I'm not sure which ones I prefer or how best to work them all together. But if you liked this rewrite and are intrigued by these ideas, let me know by supporting this video and telling me in the comments, and I may just revisit this project to complete this saga. But anyway, that's all for now. What do you think of the existing movie, and how does my rewrite compare? I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, never stay silent.